It is my joy to be back with you all again this morning. My name is Lee Curtis. I'm your candidate to the ordinary. And on behalf of Bishop Hunn, I bring you greetings and congratulations. Today is a day worth celebrating. One of the things that we're doing today in celebrating the ministry of Jeanine here with you is marking ceremoniously a reality that has already begun. She's been here for a minute, about as long as I have. About as long as I have. And yet today we are taking the time to get together in front of God and in front of everybody and to say, this is a thing. This is where we're going to be for a while. Today is also, coincidentally, the Feast of the Presentation, which was a similar way of, a similar kind of liturgical action. After a period of time, babies in ancient Palestine would be presented, Jewish babies in ancient Palestine would be presented at the temple. A sacrifice would be made in thanksgiving. And it wasn't done quickly. It wasn't done immediately. There was a period of waiting because, frankly, you wanted to be sure that the baby was going to make it. Which is contrary to the way that Christians have thought about it. That same impetus was, we're not sure if the baby's going to make it, so baptize him right now. Let's do it right now. That, as we'll see, Jesus waited a fairly long time for his baptism. And this kind of presentation moment was, okay, we're out of the weeds. This child, the life that they will live, will be consecrated to God. We will give thanks to God. There was a similar kind of practice that many of us, it's actually still in the 28 prayer book. It is in our 79 prayer book as well. You got to go looking for it, though. It's something we used to call the churching of women. We know how to pick names for things, apparently, right? The churching of women, which was a period, again, built on similar kinds of impulses that for 40 days after giving birth, a new mother shouldn't do anything. Ancient Palestine had a more generous maternity leave policy than states in the United States. In all of these things, there is this period of waiting and then embarking. Met at that moment where we get together as congregation and ask God to bless what has happened. The central story of the presentation is the story of Anna and Simeon, both who have been waiting in the temple, waiting for years, knowing that one day this Messiah would show up. Anna having a very heartfelt moment with Mary. Heartfelt, though not happy, and one day a sword will pierce your own side also. And Simeon, with that song that many of us, that we in the Anglican tradition say before bedtime in the service of compliment. And excuse the right one language, but Lord, now lettest thou thy servant depart in peace according to thy word, for my eyes have seen thy salvation, which thou hast prepared in the face of all people. Lord, now lettest thou thy servant depart in peace. Which is just a really fancy way of saying, all right, I've seen it, I can go now. God works in us slowly over time. And then in an instant, things break out. And what Anna and Simeon had been waiting for close to 80 years, Jesus would move through in 30. And when Jesus gets to that point of his baptism in the river by John, within 3 years, the event that marks not just the pivot of our calendar, but if we go into the ontology of all of this, we go into the stuff behind the stuff that marks the pivot of the universe. We have these pivots in our communities as well. Times where we say, where we know that a change is upon us, and we bring it before God to have God bless it and guard it, and then we go. So what are we going into? Matthew has some things to say about that. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you for my sake. That's what we're getting into. That's what we're moving through. That's the moment, that's the movement that God is asking us to get into. That's what we are asking God to bless us for. You will notice that none of those things are easy. That none of those things are things that we code culturally as successful. Think in your mind of the greatest examples of peacemakers you have known, and think of the ends of their stories. It's a very mixed bag. But this is what we are here to anticipate in this new movement. And movements require leadership. And y'all did good. Like real good. In calling leadership for this new moment. Because what we are in is a new moment. It is the reality that for us to approach anything resembling the glory days, if the glory days ever existed, we will have to work twice as hard and 4 times as smart. We will have to get people rooted in being able to see and name and recognize Jesus so that they too can have that moment like Simeon where they say, this is it. And I can move on to the rest of my life. We will not do that. They will never walk into an institution. They will never walk into a room and say, this is it. Because if what we are offering is a pleasant Sunday morning experience, brunch will always beat us. If we are simply competing for people's time on a Sunday afternoon, the NFL has spent billions of dollars and will do better than us. But if people come here and find Jesus, and find Jesus in the way that we as Episcopalians know Jesus, ain't nobody can do that better than us. This is the moment that I know that Jeanine is ready ready to help lead you into. This is the moment that I know, for all of the tumult and transition, for all of the conflict, I have gotten to know you, St. Thomas of Canterbury. And deep, deep, I know you know who this Jesus is and how to share it. And so today, the celebration for us is that you and Jeanine are willing to walk together for this season, and this is what we are taking this is what we are putting before God and asking God to bless. It will not fall into old patterns. It cannot fall into old patterns. So the old patterns just aren't working. But together, slowly, patiently, deliberately, you will share Jesus. And people will know God because of the work that you do here. And that is the entire ballgame. I will just say as a sidebar, I actually kind of love in New Mexico that people don't care about the NFL. Wow.
You're new here, stranger.
College ball's different. But, and I came from Colts country, which is a whole different. But today may explain the cultural forces that we're up against. Today may explain that it's not just competing for people's time, it's competing for people's attention and their heart. And I know that you are up to that task, and I know that Jeanine can help lead you through that. So let us take time now to wade into a little bit of water, to remember those moments in us where we put ourselves before God and were blessed, where God put God's self before us and was a blessing. And then let's have a good morning. Let's celebrate this. Because the work is here, and it will be here, but you're up to it.